All right, let's truly unpack this. Have you ever encountered an idea, just a single concept, that felt like it profoundly shifted your perspective?
Almost like it peeled away a filter you didn't even know was there.
Exactly. And what if certain beliefs, certain, well, ways of seeing, could genuinely expand your consciousness?
And lead to some pretty startling realizations about yourself and, the world around you.
Well, it's more than just a thought, isn't it? It feels quite central to how we experience reality itself.
Absolutely. Our internal frameworks, our beliefs, they aren't just passive descriptions. They're actively shaping what we perceive as real.
Precisely. And today, we're diving deep into exactly that. We're looking at this intriguing concept called cognitive resonance.
And its counterpart, view capacity. Now, these ideas come from a really thought-provoking piece on the randomseed.pl website.
That's right. The original terms were rezonans poznaci and pojemnosza pogledu. We're translating them here.
And we're going to connect this to, well, a brilliant conversation between Bernardo Kastrup
Yes, the idealist philosopher.
and John Vervaeke, the cognitive scientist and philosopher.
Our mission today really is to explore how language and our belief systems condition our deepest, well, metacognitive experience.
Yeah, how they sculpt not just what we perceive out there in the world,
But the very core of our identity, how we see ourselves.
and crucially, we'll explore how we might harness this power for real insights whilst also, sidestepping some significant pitfalls.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think.
Definitely.
So let's start with that core idea, cognitive resonance, from the random seed source.
Okay.
It suggests that certain views, certain perspectives, which the author calls having view capacity, that pojemność pogledu,
Yeah.
they possess this unique power.
It's not just about what you believe, is it? It's about how that belief actually expands your internal landscape.
Right. And what's truly insightful here is that unlike, say, very rigid limiting views, these spacious perspectives can induce an almost immediate internal shift.
They lead to what the source calls a loosening of perspective.
Yes, and ultimately an expansion of consciousness.
And the crucial point, the source emphasizes this. It's not the specific content of the view that really holds the magic.
No. What is it then?
It's effect. Its effect on our internal conditions, how it sort of opens us up.
Okay, so think about this. A spacious view could be something quite fantastical, couldn't it? Like contemplating. What was the example? Translucent plant animals in parallel dimensions.
Connected by luminous tendrils. Yeah, that certainly stretches the mind.
It does. But it could also be a profound philosophical idea, like the existence of one non-local yet universal consciousness.
Or even something from, say, quantum physics, that idea that reality neither exists nor doesn't exist, nor both, nor neither. Quite baffling stuff.
Exactly. So regardless of the specific story or the concept,
If these views resonate, if they really hit home,
they can temporarily strip away those habitual perceptual filters we all operate with.
right, allowing for a more direct, maybe less mediated experience of ourselves and reality.
And it's that temporary unfiltering happening unconsciously that seems to be the key to this cognitive resonance.
It's less about piling on new information and perhaps more about removing blockages to understanding what's already there, in a sense.
And this whole idea of filters brings us quite neatly to the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis.
Ah, yes. Many people will have heard of that one.
It suggests, doesn't it, that the language we speak, and by extension, the conceptual frameworks we inherit and adopt,
They don't just describe reality, they actively shape it.
our words, our beliefs, they're much more than just labels. They're the very lenses we use.
So if we connect that back to cognitive resonance, a spacious view, one with high view capacity, could literally loosen these linguistic and conceptual filters that Sapir-Whorf talked about.
And this isn't just about how we see the external world, different colors maybe, or textures.
No, it goes much deeper. It extends to how we perceive our own identity, our sense of self.
So if our everyday language, the stories we tell ourselves, condition us to think of the mind in narrow ways,
Like just separate functions or simply a product of brain chemistry.
it profoundly limits our self-understanding, doesn't
It
it?
really does. But if we adopt a more spacious view of identity or consciousness,
One with that high view capacity.
it can unlock a much deeper, more integrated self-awareness. It's like expanding the mental real estate available for seeing yourself.
Allowing new connections, new insights to actually form, like getting a broader vocabulary for your inner world.
That's a good way to put it. Now let's see how these ideas sort of play out in that dialogue between Bernardo Kastrup and John Vervaeke.
Okay. because both of them, in their own ways, seem to be grappling with these concepts, filtering, expanded views, the nature of reality.
Exactly. Kastrup, for instance, he's a strong advocate for absolute idealism.
Right. His core idea is that all reality is fundamentally mental.
And we as individuals are all parts or maybe dissociations, is his term, of one grand cosmic mind.
And his argument for how we get this apparent external reality is through dissociation.
Yes. He likens it to how alters in dissociative identity disorder, DID, can interact within a shared mental space.
Even if they don't consciously perceive each other in the outer world, so to speak.
And what's really striking is he points to Harvard research showing that, 25% of DID patients actually dream with multiple alters interacting?
That's quite a figure.
It is. It's not just a throwaway detail. It provides a kind of empirical analogy for his bigger metaphysical claim.
So this view, everything is mental, interconnected through a cosmic mind, it offers a tremendously spacious perspective, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It fundamentally challenges that pervasive materialist filter that dominates so much Western thought.
Allows for a much broader, maybe more integrated understanding of existence. It's a genuine paradigm shift if you take it seriously.
Definitely. Now, shifting to John Vervaeke, he's coming from naturalistic Neoplatonism, and his focus is very much on the meaning crisis in Western culture.
Right. He argues that our typical Western approach, that Cartesian epistemology,
Trying to build understanding just from our own individual subjective experience outwards.
it has real limitations.
Yeah.
It can leave us feeling quite detached, isolated even.
Instead, he champions an older, ancient epistemology, one that starts with a fundamental assumption of intelligibility.
The idea that the universe at its core is comprehensible, that it makes sense.
Precisely. And he introduces this concept of relevance realization.
Which is?
It's a universal cognitive process. It's basically how we instinctively find meaning, how we make sense of things in any situation, how we filter the noise, focus on what's important.
Okay.
And his idea of participatory knowing, or transjectivity, is really key here.
How so?
It suggests knowledge isn't just out there waiting to be found, nor is it purely in here, inside our heads.
It's more dynamic.
Yes, it's a co-creation, a dance between our mental processes, our relevance realization machinery, and the world we're engaging with.
And both Vervaeke and Kastrup seem to share a critique of what Vervaeke calls the tyranny of the propositional.
Ah, yes. Nerd idolatry, as he sometimes calls it.
Which is that overemphasis on factual linguistic knowledge.
Exactly. Often at the expense of other, perhaps deeper forms of knowing, embodied wisdom, intuition, practical skills.
Things gained through experience and practice, not just reading facts.
Right. And they suggest this narrow focus acts as a significant filter. It hinders our capacity for deeper insight.
And contributes directly to that meaning crisis Vervaeke talks about.
It's like trying to understand a symphony by only reading the score, as you said earlier. You miss the music.
Their discussion also goes deep into metacognitive experiences and personal transformation.
They both share quite compelling personal stories of loosening these rigid intellectual filters they critique.
Kastrup, for example, describes a progressive surrender to what is.
Especially after a personal crisis, wasn't it?
Yes, moving from being highly critical of anything sounding remotely like woo-woo.
To actually using terms like cosmic consciousness in his academic work.
And he likens this to accepting his own shadow side.
That critical, hyperlogical part that used to dismiss anything beyond strict reason and evidence?
It's an integration, isn't it? Bringing those parts together.
It is. And Vervaeke, too, talks about his own transformation, moving away from fundamentalist Christianity.
Towards a more Platonic framework and engaging in practices like Tai Chi.
Which he says opened him up to a wider ecology of knowing, a more holistic way of understanding.
These are really powerful examples, aren't they, of how adopting different, more spacious views,
combined with that genuine personal transformation work,
can lead to profound self-awareness and insight, effectively increasing your view capacity in a very real way.
And this is a big but. The cognitive resonance source issues a stark warning. There's a hidden dragon lurking.
The potential for dogma. And even cult formation.
Exactly. When one of these spacious views facilitates a really powerful transformative experience.
The mind can easily misinterpret where that insight actually came from.
It's a subtle trap, but the source suggests it often happens in, well, three main ways.
Okay, what are they?
Firstly, attachment to the story. We cling to the specific narrative, the content of the view itself.
Believing it is the truth, the final answer.
rather than seeing it as just the vehicle, the key that unlocked our own perception.
And that's where a spacious view can paradoxically become rigid, isn't it? It loses its capacity.
Precisely. Secondly, attachment to the person.
Attributing the experience to the guru, the teacher, the person who presented the view.
Yes, leading to that sort of cult-like devotion, even if that person simply acted as a conduit for an idea that resonated within us.
Right. And the third way.
Mistaking the view for a method. Trying to mechanically reproduce the experience by just reenacting the story or the belief system like a recipe.
Like a step-by-step list.
Yeah, and the source points out this is almost always doomed to fail, because the insight didn't come from the steps.
It arose from that unconscious, unfiltering, unique to our own internal state at that moment.
Exactly. So the crucial takeaway from cognitive resonance is this. The true source of this expanded awareness is our own underlying capacity. It's innate. It's within.
Not something external we need to grab onto.
Right. And this aligns perfectly with Kastrup and Vervaeke's shared critique of what gets called spiritual bypassing.
Ah, yes. Exemplified, they say, most absurdly by the idea of mind uploading.
Or silicon rapture, the rapture of the nerds, as some call it.
They both just dismiss it, don't they, as complete and utter nonsense.
A fundamental category error, confusing a description, a computational model perhaps, with the actual lived reality of consciousness.
They see it as a kind of distorted expression of the religious impulse.
Yeah, an attempt to achieve immortality, maybe omnipotence, but without doing the hard work.
The difficult, messy, transformative work of confronting your own limitations, your own shadows.
Exactly. And they argued this kind of superficial approach to spirituality as, well, intellectually unsound.
And leads to a rather narcissistic, illusory sense of progress that completely fails to address that deep meaning crisis.
It's looking for a quick fix that just misses the point entirely, the point being that profound internal shift.
So, given all this, the power of the pitfalls, what does this mean for you listening? How can we actually harness this cognitive resonance wisely?
How do we avoid the traps of dogma and, superficiality?
Well, both Kastrup and Vervaeke seem to advocate for a path of genuine and often quite challenging transformation.
Vervaeke, for instance, proposes this compelling idea of a religion without religion.
Right. Acknowledging the rise of the knowns, people who feel spiritual but aren't tied to traditional religious institutions.
He suggests that while traditional religions can offer a path to wisdom, many have unfortunately become rigid.
Focus too much on dogma, on moral judgments.
Rather than on religare, that Latin root meaning to reconnect.
To reconnect with the fundamental source of reality.
Yes, and he champions what he calls an ecology of practices.
Things like Tai Chi, Vipassana meditation, his own meta-contemplation.
But these aren't just dry intellectual exercises. They involve imaginal enactment, he calls it, or serious play. Meaning engaging with reality in a deeper, more participatory way. One that fosters continuous growth and what he terms reciprocal opening.
Reciprocal opening. Like love.
He explicitly likens it to love, where self-disclosure leads to deeper connection and mutual transformation between you and, well, reality itself.
That kind of engagement, he suggests, allows us to truly fall in love with reality in a profound way.
That's beautifully put. And Kastrup echoes this sentiment, doesn't he?
He does, emphasizing the need for established traditions, Christianity, for example, to re-engage with their liturgical, their symbolic depths.
Rather than remaining sort of fossilized in just moral codes or historical claims.
He even asks these really provocative questions like, what if our role is to help God?
Suggesting a much more co-creative, dynamic relationship with the transcendent, rather than a purely passive one.
And crucially, both thinkers really stress the importance of understanding and integrating the shadow.
Those dark, morally ambiguous aspects of ourselves and of nature itself that we often prefer to ignore or repress.
Ignoring it, they argue, just leads to projection, to conflict, both inside us and out in the world.
Integrating the shadow isn't about condoning evil, is it? It's about acknowledging its existence.
Understanding its energy, perhaps, and then channeling it constructively.
Leading to far greater self-acceptance and maybe more empathy for others, too. It's a vital part of maturing, spiritually speaking.
And finally, they both bring up something often missed in these deep dives. Humor.
Yes. The importance of humor. They suggest it's vital for cognitive flexibility, for gaining genuine insight.
It helps us not take ourselves or our precious ideas quite so seriously.
Allows for a more nuanced, less rigid engagement with our experiences, our thoughts. That moment of lightness can dislodge a stuck perspective.
So the journey towards wisdom, they seem to imply it's not some linear climb to a fixed state of perfection.
No, it's more like a continuous process, a surrender, Kastrup calls it, to the flow of nature.
Embracing ambiguity, accepting ourselves, maybe even our laziness or other shadow bits.
Not with judgment, but with a kind of compassionate commitment to keep growing, keep transforming.
It's a lifelong dance with the unknown, really.
Beautifully said.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? We've explored cognitive resonance, this incredible, almost hidden power of view capacity.
And how our language, our beliefs act as these often invisible filters, profoundly shaping our very experience of reality and who we think we are.
We've seen how figures like Kastrup and Vervaeke navigate these really complex conceptual landscapes.
Offering us, I think, quite surprising insights into consciousness, wisdom, and the dangers of mistaking the map for the actual territory.
They really invite us, don't they, to move beyond just rigid intellectualism or maybe superficial spirituality.
Towards a deeper, more transformative engagement with ourselves and with the world.
So, considering that our consciousness and the frameworks we adopt fundamentally influence what we perceive as real, how might you personally more intentionally curate the views you embrace?
What spacious views could you perhaps begin to explore or even cultivate in your own life?
Views that might unlock deeper levels of self-awareness, of connection, truly stepping into a state of being, perhaps, rather than just having.
The journey to wisdom, it really seems, is less about acquiring more and more information.
And more about a continuous, maybe courageous, process of self-discovery, fueled by genuine curiosity, a necessary touch of humility.
And perhaps, as they reminded us, a good laugh along the way.